It's Corso and Catone, brought to you by...
Let's start that over again. The wrong thing here. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is with us in the booth, and you are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. Hey, 790 The Score. We are the pregame show, first pregame show for the Patriots game coming up a little bit later against the Bears. And why don't you give us a call and heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Have a take. 24/7, you can leave a message. Joe will pick one, or you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Make sure you subscribe. Scan that. Is that how you say it? Scan the QR code.
Oh, my God.
Right?
You got it, buddy. You got it.
Get it down so you never, ever, ever, ever miss a show or a notification. Hey, we got a good one today. We are going to go in QB breakdown, talk a little Drake May, and some of the stuff that came up this week about Jacoby Brissett. So stick around for that. And, of course, Pat's preview, we're going to talk about this Bears game and give you our keys to victory and go into the coach's room and coach's corner and, of course, try to make you some money in Sunday spread. I got a couple I got to lick my wounds over this week. Gentlemen, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
You know, we ready for another fun-filled Sunday of football, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I can't wait to watch another loss. Oh, that Sunday spread. I got to wait for that prediction.
Yeah, you know what? Right away, he's going to be a downer, Joe.
Bring it, Debbie Downer.
Yeah. They're going to win. They're going to beat the Bears. Beat the Bears. Swish the fish. Remember that?
Listen, the only way they're going to win. Listen, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I'm going to hold up the emblem for Brady. That they bring him out of retirement. That's the only way.
Yeah, I just wish they would use this logo from now on. If you're not, if you got to get on YouTube, you could see our outfits and Mock's, bright shining face where he's had about 3 or 4 Bloody Marys already. He's ready to go. Joe drinks mimosas, so
he's sophisticated. He's sophisticated mimosa.
We went down to South Carolina to see the South Carolina Gamecocks kick the crap out of Texas A&M, and they had.
I thought you said you were going to College Station. You didn't. You went to South Carolina.
You misread that. That's the thing. But they had a wonderful Bloody Mary mix. It was fantastic. We're gonna have to send away. We gotta send you guys.
So you don't even know what was going on in that game then.
No, I didn't watch that.
That was a good game. They do something. It's SEC. They do it right over there. Let me.
I was just gonna say, Joe, they do it right down there. That's that they know how to tailgate down there.
It's a whole different world down there. Well, welcome back, Joe, and welcome back for the pregame for this Bears game coming up. But we want to talk a little quarterback, and we're going to do it in QB breakdown, and we're going to do it now.
Okay, now.
Hit it, boys.
Okay, Mark. So yesterday in Corso and Catone, we talked a little bit about this Jacoby Brissett versus Drake May. Heard a lot of this rhetoric this week about, Jacoby Brissett won the 2 games. Drake May's been 0-4. Should he even be playing? And Greg Bedard this week had a little, for the Boston Sports Journal, had a little bit to say on that. Joe, let's play that.
Score 17 points. If Jacoby was in there taking care of the ball, maybe he's better at run checks. Like, would the Patriots not be in the game? I don't know. But largely, I come away from this game wanting to excuse Drake for the turnovers because I do think he had everything on his back. He's 22. He only played, 2 years of college ball. I think what we've seen, and it's been proven to this point, is that he gets better every time he plays, and he learns more and he learns from his mistakes. The last interception was tough. Did he need to be that aggressive there? The strip sack fumble, he's just got to learn the timing of the NFL game.
Yeah, so again, that was Greg Bedard this week, the Boston Sports Journal. And so, Mark, before we get to this game, which I want to do that shortly, let's put this to bed about whether Jacoby Brissett should be playing over May.
Who the hell in their right mind would say play Jacoby Brissett? Are they crazy? I mean, come on. You're going to be kidding me. Jacoby Brissett? Please.
Yeah. Well, look, you talk about turnovers. This season, Drake Mays had 159 dropbacks to 186 for Brissett. 4 interceptions for May, 1 for Brissett. 2 fumbles lost for May, 1 for Brissett. Look, with this kid, we knew you're going to get rookie mistakes.
Yes.
I mean, if you want somebody to just be conservative, not do anything, don't push it, don't take your sacks. What's not on this list is the amount of sacks, which I know Brissett has a lot more.
Oh, absolutely he does. Positively.
So if you want the conservative, not go anywhere, not see what you got, let's just, enable Alex Van Pelt to call the crappy game that he does call.
Chris,
sure, play Brissett.
Yeah, but never mind that, Chris. You basically were losing your locker room, at least your wide receiver room. Listen, the wide receiver room has got a lot of issues, but you were losing the room by playing Brissett, Chris. Clearly the team is at least energized, and there's a different energy on the field and feel on the field because he's out there with them, Chris. Not like when Brissett was out there. That alone. Just the eye test. You always like to talk about the eye test. Just the eye test of what you see with the team itself when he's on the field. It's totally different, Chris. Jacoby Brissett, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and with that interception, we talked yesterday on Corso and Catone. I mean, the one interception over the middle, bad. They're bad decisions by him.
They're rookie decisions, Chris. They're rookie decisions.
They're contributing factors to them. They really are. And I'm not giving them a pass. I would be on them all day. But there are some contributors.
Listen, yesterday on Corso Catone, you mentioned the pass he throws in overtime to Brissett that got intercepted. Explain to the viewers, as you rewatch that from a different angle, when you watch the coach's tape, what happened there?
So you had Butte lined up on the left side. He was running basically a post, okay? And I believe they were in cover 2. Pretty sure they were in cover 2, 2 high safeties. And so he was running the post, which was open. He was open. You had Kendrick Bourne on the opposite side, the right side, running a corner route. So he was running straight up the field to the corner. And the hope in that play is that you're going to take that safety. Bourne's going to take that safety with him, okay, to the corner route. And so that leaves the single safety on Butte, who's running the post, who was open, okay? Bourne falls down like the jackass that he is. So he falls down, clear weather, no rain, nothing. He just falls down. Okay, so he falls down in his route. Meanwhile, now the cover 2 safety sitting there saying, "Okay, I don't have to worry about him. I can go hunt this. I can go hunt this Butte route, the other post, and go help my other safety." And that's the guy who picked off the pass. He was coming across the field.
Granted, the ball was underthrown.
Underthrown.
It was supposed to be. However.
And I think Butte could have gone a little bit more to come back and fight a little for his quarterback, but go ahead.
I was just going to say that. But as you just described on that play, there was a contributing factor because there was supposed to be another aspect to that drags the safety. That doesn't happen. Well, so there you go.
But, I mean, it's a mistake. There's no reason to take that shot in that moment. But I think it's open, and I think it's probably game over if he gets that ball out there.
Yeah.
But he thought the safety would be somewhere else. Okay. So we can excuse some of the stuff, but yeah, he is making mistakes, but he's making a lot of progress in his footwork, especially in play action, where he's getting back around and he's seeing the field off play action quickly. And he's running those missile screens out to the left and right, and he's doing a good job getting that done with his footwork, his hand placement, and where his hips are going and all that. So, no, he's got to play. I mean, that's it. This is your guy. This is who you drafted. His numbers are in line with all the other guys. that are playing. He's surpassing Bo Nix. And I think people are pretty bullish on this guy, saying basically, you know what? I may have taken him over Jaden Daniels at this point. You know, some people are saying for the upside, you know. So
I don't know about that, Chris, but I will say this: for when you talk about upside, he possibly has shown more than the number 1 pick in the draft. Not Daniels, but
Right.
Caleb Williams, Chris. Really, he's shown a couple of things, but Williams really hasn't shown like they thought he would yet.
Mark, he doesn't have the guy. Look, who does Williams have over there? He's got a Dunze. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Moore.
Imagine if May had those guys.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, you got to put it on a scale that way. So in today's game, okay. So can he with what we have? Because I'm thinking, you know, you got Demario Douglas with only 39 receptions. Yeah, combined, all the wide receivers combined have 4 touchdowns. 4.
That's insane.
In 9 games.
How is that even possible? That what your wide receivers got 4 touchdowns in 9 games? You want to know why you've only won 2 games? Well, there you go.
Demario Douglas has 39 catches in 9 games. And the next on the list is 13. Butte. That's it. That's disgusting.
That's horrific.
So yeah, I mean, you know, if you give him the guys that Williams has, I think he's going to be a lot better. But what do you think they can with all that? You think he can outdo Williams today?
Well, I think, Chris, possibly, but I'm going to tell you what, I don't think Williams is going to be dueling anybody because I think they're going to look at the tape. They've got a real good running game. They've got a Swift, the running back, and they got another running back. They got 2 good running backs, but DeAndre Swift, they're going to rush the ball, Chris, and I'm going to tell you right now, I bet you Swift ends up with 150 yards against us. So I don't think he's going to outdo Williams because I think they're going to have Williams under control today because I think they know they're going to gash him with the running game. Swift is good with screen passes, bubble screens. They're going to utilize the running back big time in this game, Chris. Big time. So can he outdo them? Absolutely. But I don't think Chicago is going to ask Williams to do much, Chris, because of the way our defense is constructed. But yes.
Well, we'll see because, I mean,
you're still going to lose. But even if May wins the statistical battle against him, Chris, and throws a couple of touchdowns, I still think you're going to lose the game.
Yeah. Well, Caleb Williams threw for 217 yards. He was sacked. He looks like he was sacked 6 times last week. So
Arizona has that good. Did they play Arizona?
Listen, yeah,
Arizona is that good of a
defense.
Pass
They do, and they're getting better and better and better.
Okay.
And they're able to play man out there, over here, and so that's a whole different world. But I think Drake May ultimately, I honestly believe Drake May ultimately will be better than Caleb
Williams.
I do.
Okay,
I believe that.
All right.
So what do we expect from him? We'll see today. We'll see. But
Chris, here's my, well, maybe I'll say, well, no, I can say it now. We're talking about the quarterback. I think May Chris takes a significant step forward today because he struggled a little bit last week, threw a couple of picks. I think he throws 3 touchdowns this week.
all right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. I know we want to talk about the offense and the offensive keys to victory, but QB Breakdown was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. Hey, when we come back, we're going to do just that, and we're going to do it in Pat's preview. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, Mark, let's get to this game today. Let's do it in Pat's preview. Joe.
Pat's preview.
Pat's preview. Like Sounds like you've been having Bloody Marys all morning. That one. I'm telling you, I talk about Bloody Marys every week because I love those. And
You're
no
a Bloody
one
Mary
makes
guy.
a better one than me. Nobody.
Well,
Joe,
this is
Joe.
the reason why
Well, I'm going to say this. I will say this. You don't put enough vodka in yours.
Well, that's because we need a whole show for what kind of degenerate you are. You know, you should just open a bottle of vodka and put a straw in it and call it a day. You know what I mean?
Crush a couple cherry tomatoes in there, call it Bloody Mary.
Oh, come on. You know what, guys? Please.
Okay, so Mark, let's get into the offense now in this game today. And we talked Drake May a little bit, but he's going to need help. I mean, he's going to need help. So let's start with the offensive line, okay? With the quarterback pressures. Now, last week, the Bears played the Cardinals, right? They were able to get 3 sacks on Murray, who's a mobile quarterback. He's a run-around quarterback.
He gets around.
So they hit him, and I'm looking for this stat, but they hit him 12. They hit him 12 times. Could this be right? They hit Caleb Williams 12 times. I'm sorry. I'm talking about Murray right now as the quarterback. I'm talking about Arizona's defense against the Bears' offense. Okay. They hit Caleb Williams 12 times. Okay. Last week, they had, it looks like 6 sacks. So, yeah, Caleb Williams was sacked 6 times last week, and he was hit 12 times.
But
how does that bode for us in Drake
all right,
May?
but offensive breakdown, though, how many sacks did Chicago have in pressures?
Yeah. That's
what Murray.
You know what? I think I've been drinking today.
I think you tapped into the Bloody Mary mix today.
All right, forget everything I just said. Forget everything I just said.
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at the screen, and I thought it's defensive breakdown, Joe. I don't know what the hell's going on.
A lot of things I have in front of me right now. I'm running the ship here.
One of those things a vodka Bloody Mary.
Yeah, maybe I'm putting the straw in the bottle. All right. No, I'm sorry. They hit him 3 times. Chicago hit Murray 3 times. But all 3 was sacked. So they sacked him 3 times. So they did get to him. Now Murray's a mobile quarterback. So I'm wondering how much
But they have a much better offensive line than we do, Arizona, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, talk about the O-line. Now, first of all, I assume we're going to go back to the lineup of Lowe, Jordan, Brown, Owinu, Jacobs.
Chris, talk about that for a minute, though. Why set that up, though, for our listeners. What did they do last week? They flipped. They had an offensive line that started to look like it was getting better, showing some progress, and then all of a sudden they kick Owenu back out the tackle and they use Robinson, the rookie. Like, what did they do that for last week?
I don't know. I have no good explanation. I mean, the only thing I could think of.
And Mayo was okay with that?
Evidently. I mean, he seems to be okay with everything, or he doesn't. They make a switch, they make it too late. I mean, look, if you're going to bench somebody. My only guess is that Robinson's a rookie. He's had some good play, but I went over those numbers yesterday, talking about the draft picks. I mean, Robinson 68 out of 77 for Pro Football Focus for that position. 68th out of 77. That sucks. And so. Yeah. You got to get a look at your rookie, but at what expense? Would you want to get your other one killed behind that's taking snaps over here in May?
Yeah,
I don't know why they did it, but they got to go back because the offensive line was playing better.
It was playing better. It was playing better.
So
they had a poor week last week, Chris. The offensive line,
bad week. The guards, which Simmons killed them. I mean, and the coaching did nothing to help them. Nothing. So today. Mark, we got to see the same unit we saw in the previous 2 games to Tennessee, okay? And then hopefully there's some continuity there, okay? Arizona rushed for 213 yards against Chicago. So you got to feel like we can run the ball.
This could be a week where you run the football. How many yards, though, was Kyler Murray's? Was it actually the running backs?
No, it wasn't. It was Now let me get to the right team now this time. Okay. Well, I'm the one who's got to do everything, Joe. I'm looking at all the stats. He just sits there and looks pretty on the camera.
Look,
It's him.
would you listen to this guy?
No, it wasn't Murray much. He rushed for 6 yards. It was Connor who rushed for. It was a good back. I would put Connor better than.
No, Connor's a good back. He's a good back.
Better than Swift, do you say, or?
No, I think Swift is comparable. Swift might be a little better, Chris.
Oh, well, then we're in trouble because
we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Connor rushed with us, but the point is,
Different
Connor
type
rushed
of
for
back.
Yeah,
Let me say
Connor
that,
rushed for
but-
107 yards against
we're in trouble
against Chicago.
I bet my prediction is Swift will break 100.
Okay, that's against our defense, but Connor rushed for 107 yards against their defense, against Chicago's defense.
So
does
we
that
should
mean
be
that
able
we
to run the
can-
ball. We should be able to. Listen, Ramondre Stevenson, Chris, didn't play well last week at all.
No, he missed open holes. They were blocking out. He didn't cut up. He tried to break to the outside where the blocks were happening. I mean, so he had a bad vision game last week.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But to only rush for 15 yards outside of Drake May,
That's unacceptable.
1.6.
I don't care how bad.
carry?
I don't care how bad your offensive line is. That's unacceptable.
I mean, you got to do better than that.
Yeah, you don't have it. You have to.
So the offensive line's got to open up holes in the run game. I think they will do better with it, given that Chicago gave up a lot of run yards. So I think they're able to.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can. But they got to protect May too. May's does a good job of getting out of it.
He does. Last week, though, Chris, Tennessee did a good job of closing up the running lanes as May racked up 90, 95 yards. But in the second half of that game, Tennessee made the adjustment. They closed the lanes, they closed that middle of the field down on him. And he struggled a bit, because there were guys open at times, but he couldn't run out anymore. And that might have led to a couple of interceptions too, Chris.
Well, I'll tell you this. They're going to have to do
Turnovers.
The scheme's going to have to be better too. I mean, you can't just watch these guys. You can't watch your guard struggle like last week against Simmons and do nothing to help him. And do nothing. You're not sliding the protection down. You're not keeping a tight end to chip. Your running backs are horrible at pass pro.
So, Chris, is that on Van Pelt or is that on the O-line coach as well?
Both, all of it. But ultimately, it's on Van Pelt, and ultimately, it's on Mayo.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to make the decision to bench Robinson after the first, go with the Mark. I don't understand not going with the unit that you had success with previous 2 weeks. Now, talk about the wide receivers because we talked about the running back. Stevenson's got to be better. He's got to be better.
He's got to be better. Definitely got to be better.
Okay, Arizona threw 19 times versus Chicago, only.
That's not a lot, Chris. In an NFL game, 19 pass attempts is not a lot.
No. So I would think, that we're going to see more out of New England in the pass game. I would imagine. Last week, Drake May threw 41 times.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was a blowout and they
Chris,
needed to throw the ball to get back in it. I mean,
I think to win this game, though, Chris, you're going to have to be more balanced on the offensive side of the ball.
Because they only rushed the ball in New England 20 times last week. And 8 of those was May. So really.
Yeah. So that's why, Chris, I think we have to be more balanced with the running game, with the running backs, not May running out of the pocket and racking up yards. I think we're going to have to be more balanced, Chris. You want to maximum the limited talent you have at wide receiver.
So what about wide receiver? Who's I mean, I'm so baffled by it all. Like they only have to they put 2 tight ends on the field more than anything, and you really only left with 2 wide receivers to play. So so they're gonna come out with the Hooper, Henry, and 2 wideouts. And those wideouts have been Boutte and Douglas. And Bourne. Like who should be on this field?
Well, Chris, listen, I would give Baker the chance this week. I try to incorporate him into the lineup this week, Javon Baker. I think you have to, Chris. I think maybe Jalen Polk, Chris, puts together a game because he's got his college teammate Adunse on the other side of the field. Maybe Polk can show something this week because, he is going up against his, the guy he played very closely with in college. But I think you got to put Baker on the field. Obviously, Douglas. You got Butte. I mean, Bourne in spots might be able to give you something. But I say, Chris, you go with the young guys. Go with Butte. Go with Baker. Go with Douglas. You want to maneuver between Polk and Bourne. That's fine. But I definitely would put the other three guys on the field, Chris, and see what you got.
Yeah. You have to. At some point, you have to. You're now in week 10. You're in week 10.
And Chris, last week you said, they ran a bunch of 10 personnel, Mark. But who was involved in that 10 personnel, Chris?
Yeah, the tight ends. The tight ends. And so when they went with three receivers, it was often Bourne, Douglas, and Butte. Polk hit the field a few times, but he only committed penalties and then he went off. So, I mean, I don't know where his mind is. He's checked out, it seems. I don't know what's going on with him.
And Thornton, I don't think you're going to see Thornton anymore on the field.
Well, no, I don't think so. Or I don't think Osborne either. I don't think you're going to see Osborne either. Which is good. I mean, we wanted
They
Thornton.
said they might release Osborne to give him an opportunity to catch on with somebody. Go ahead.
I mean, we said it in the offseason when all this came to bet. We said we're in better shape if it ends up being Butte, Douglas, Bourne, and Polk. But it isn't working out. And Mark, I think the biggest problem is there's no leader on this. I mean, this is a conversation for another day, but
no leader.
I don't think there's on the whole team. I mean, I just don't think there's anybody there to hold these receivers accountable. I heard.
Well, Drake May's a rookie, Chris. I mean, typically, a lot of times it would be the quarterback, but he's not capable of doing that.
And Andrews isn't there.
8 weeks into his rookie season, and he hasn't even started every game. 9 weeks. No, when Andrews not being there, also, you're right, Chris. He could step up and become a leader, but he's not playing.
Because these guys are behaving like clowns, on top of the fact that they're not producing on the field. So we'll see what happens today. I mean, but you're going to have to see some. You're going to have to give Drake May some help. You got to run better routes. You got to stem routes when you're supposed to. Crisp routes. Don't a short thing. Don't commit penalties. My God, Bourne. How do you false start Bourne? I don't even understand that as a wide receiver.
And what did Polk have? Three penalties as a receiver.
2 or 3 penalties. I mean, you can't put these guys. You can't play behind the sticks. You just can't do it, and they do often.
We don't have the talent to compensate for that.
No, so they're going to have to avoid that. And I know when we get to our picks and Sunday spread, you'll talk about some of your keys to victory as to what they need to do on offense. Yeah. But flipping now to the defensive side of the ball, okay? So now I can talk about what I was talking about before when I mixed up things. But Chicago only rushed for 69 yards, okay? And so I obviously Arizona's defense is better. Their defensive front is better. Their corners, their defensive backs up better so they can play in man coverage. But I'll tell you, Chicago's got some good receivers, and
they do. They definitely do.
So I don't know if you're going to get away with playing a lot of man and flooding the box this week to stop the run. But the bottom line for New England is got to start with stopping the run, right?
Yeah, positively, Chris. Listen, they were gashed last week, Chris. What did Tennessee have? 400 yards of total offense against them?
400 total total yards. 100. I think it was 167 yards rushing the ball last week.
And of the total yards, Chris, it's not like you went up against a legendary quarterback or a legendary offense.
Rudolph.
I mean, Tennessee stinks themselves, and Rudolph. Oh my God.
And Pollard. Pollard was the running back.
Listen, he's not a bad running back, Chris, but he shouldn't have been able to gash you like he did.
They keep having the same problems, with size. I don't think Equale. I'm not sure if I don't think he played last week. So, that's an issue if he didn't. And I have to go back and look. But we said, no, he played.
Did he play?
He played. Your size issue is what we talked about all season was going to be a problem on the defensive line with getting run on because they're getting pushed. I mean, the whole offensive line pushing them. So you got to the key now is to stop the run. But the key more so, Mark, is to allow the coaching staff has got to stop the run.
Chris, they never adjustment. But listen, maybe they'll just have to play special teams this week, Chris.
Oh my God. And that's the other problem, the middle of the field. You got, talk about these receivers.
Oh.
Okay. So we know they got to stop the run, but I think there's going to be a concerted effort on the coaching staff to say, we're not going to allow this team to beat us on the ground. And we'll certainly not allow Caleb Williams to beat us on the ground with his feet. So we're going to have to plug gaps. We're going to have to play 5-man front at times, get into gaps, set the edge, seal the edge, make Williams beat you from the pocket. Okay. Throwing the ball down the field. Right?
Yeah.
That's the first order of business. Now, talk about these receivers for Chicago. You got Adunze, Moore, and Allen. And they got a pretty good tight end, too.
Based on the way our secondary has played this year, you may be in big trouble Sunday with those receivers. They've got Keenan Allen. They have Adunze, the rookie. They got DJ Moore. They got a tight end who's decent. DeAndre Swift catches the ball out of the backfield all the time.
He had 6 catches last week for 31 yards.
Yeah, but
DeAndre Swift did. That's a lot.
So they use him, but typically, Chris, he's like 6 for 70. Typically.
Yeah.
So that was actually a low number for him last week. So, Chris, they're gonna have to be able to handle that on defense. Your corners this week, because they do use 3 wide receiver sets. Okay, Gonzalez is Gonzalez, but what are you going to do with the other 2 corners?
Jonathan Jones has not been good.
No.
They've not had an answer at that other corner. Jonathan Jones hasn't been good.
No.
Marcus Jones, his size, it just keeps getting exposed every week.
That's the problem, is his size. Yes.
He's got speed, but his size gets exposed, and that's going to happen this week. It's not like these guys are small receivers either.
No.
DJ Moore, Allen, these are not small guys, because I feel like Gonzalez on Adunze, you're probably going to see that matchup some. And Covington likes to play this man coverage a lot, so he could stop the run. And even with that, he's still not stopping the run.
Does Covington ever make an adjustment? My God.
Nothing that works.
Speaking of adjustments, I'm going to throw this in there. This time I want to see Mayo out there, not out there on the field. In with the
put a helmet and shoulder pads on. Get him out there.
No, that's my point. That's actually the point, is that I want to see him like fired up, talking to the defense, giving them something to make adjustments when they're off the field. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't ever see him doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to see him go to the defensive huddle like Bill used to do.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So, again, and the middle, Mark Tavai, the middle of the field, please make a comment before I start screaming.
Chris, and they do got tight ends, I think, in Chicago. The middle of the field, Chris, even Sunday, when they needed a key play, they went to the middle of the field. They had a couple of receivers at times. One of them went to Ridley over the middle. I don't know if that was I don't think it was in the overtime. But at one point, it was a 3rd down. They needed it. Ridley goes over the middle. I think Gonzalez got turned around, but it doesn't matter. The middle of the field, Chris, it's like a team can expose that whenever they want, and we can't stop it. Whenever they want, a team can expose the middle of the field against us, and there's no adjustments. There's no nothing. Is there any type of an adjustment that Covington could put in, knowing the middle of your field is weak?
And I get the personnel issues. I get it. Peppers isn't there. Duggar's not there.
Something he can put in place to cover up the middle of the field? Schematically?
Well, you could take Tavai off the field. You could stop by doing that, okay? Especially in passing situations, obvious passing down situations, you could take him off the field. You can add an extra safety. I mean, they're weak in that safety spot. You can roll. You can disguise it. You could put a robber down, make it look cover 2. I mean, you're going against Caleb Williams, so he's a rookie quarterback, regardless of what else you want to say about him. So you should be able to fool him a bit. Should be able to roll some safeties down, come up with cover 3, depending on the formation, drop a linebacker into coverage and bring another safety in the box to take those crossers. Utilize Marcus Jones better. Get him into the center of the field.
Struggled.
He has, but get him in the center of the field so he's chasing the guy, so he's chasing people, and he won't be flat-foot. There are things you can do, but they're just not doing it.
No.
So, but the key, first and foremost, is for them, stop the run, stop the run, set the edge, let Caleb Williams beat you from the pocket, period.
Turnover, Chris. They got to get a couple of turnovers this week. They got to flip that narrative.
Yeah.
The Patriots have to be plus 2 or 3 in order to actually have a shot of winning this game.
And by the way, get off the damn field. You got to get off the field. End of games. They've been gassed and atrocious at the end of games. That's got to improve. So that's our preview of today's game as to what we think needs to happen. But Pat's preview was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, 12 Eastern. We got it all on there. We got B's and C's. We got Catone's comments. We got our new Pacey Fryer minute. So stick around for all of that. Saturdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. But hey, when we come back, going to go in the coach's room. Coach's corner is next. No flipping.
I'm seriously. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's it.
What is wrong with you?
Get him on this damn show.
You lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Pat's Nation. Oh, yeah, it's going to be real, all right. It's going to be real. I said one of these weeks on Corso Catone, I think I'm going to pop a blood vessel, if we keep losing games like this. But anyway, because that's the show we break down the previous week's game. That's the show where we talk to you about everything you've been hearing all week long, how much of it is nonsense, how much of it is real, and then we give you the real deal as to why it all happened. So make sure you tune it in to that. But getting into the coach's room now for today's game. Want to play some of that Greg Bedard cut on the O-line and the coaching, because we got a few points to make on that, Joe.
Coach's Corner.
You know what I like about that? For those people, those of you on 790, you have to turn into YouTube to see it. But he's got that Mayo's got a clueless look on his face in that clip.
It matches. It
yes,
matches.
it absolutely does.
You know who else thought he was clueless? Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal.
Well, let's start with the rocket science decision after they had 2 weeks of continuity on the offensive line. And all I heard was whining from the coaches and a bunch of other people about how, we can't expect much. They don't have any continuity on the offensive line. They finally have a chance to do that. And they decide, nope, we are going to change things again. And not only are we going to kick Michael Winning out to right tackle, but we are going to put Layden Robinson, who is a rookie, who at times has been promising. It's been a while. He hasn't played a whole lot. He got hurt. He struggled when he came back. He went to the bench. These geniuses decided we're going to go up against Jeffrey Simmons, who is, now that Aaron Donald's gone, he might be the best defensive tackle in the league. That not only are we going to put a rookie in Layden Robinson out there against him, we're also not going to give him any help. We're also not going to give him any help. We are not going to have a point
repeating
Jeffrey Simmons. We are just going to let him go one-on-one against a rookie, and he's going to completely wreck the offense in the first half, which was a bunch of hot garbage. It was horrible, the offense in the first half, and it wasn't Drake May's fault. They say the battle is lost before it's fought. For Mayo to sit there and listen to this and hear the plan and say and approve it is just it's just a dereliction of duty on multiple levels.
That was Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal this week. He seems to get more and more pissed off as the
go on, right?
As the take goes in that audio. He sounds like us. John.
Oh my God.
Let me say this to the fans out there listening. As Corso and Catone go, not only are the real deal sports fanatics, these two, about the plays and the teams in New England, but also the people who put on the sports shows. You're all a suspect, and you're all in spotlight to Corso and Catone.
Absolutely. Yeah. and that just shows you how much respect we have for Greg Bedard, because we play him
winning
regularly.
On a regular basis, Chris, because he does know what he's talking about, and he understands the game, and he's been around for years, and he knows. Listen, he's trying to be kind, Chris. Dereliction of duty. He knows that Mayo's a cartoon character out there. He doesn't know what the hell's going on, but Dad tries to be, kind of,
But to Joe's point, we don't play anybody else.
No.
We play ourselves. We give it to you. Okay, Mark. We'll talk about the O-line. But here's how you lose a game. Okay? Here's how you lose a game. 3 turnovers, 4 sacks, okay, including back-to-back in the fourth quarter. 8 penalties. Polk, 1 penalty, no receptions. I think he had 2, actually. Kendrick Bourne running routes short of the sticks on 3rd and 14. Imagine. The special teams missing field goals.
One of your leaders in that room, and he's running. He can't even plant and run a route to the sticks.
Right, and allowing 125 plus rushing yards for the 6th time in 7 games. That's how you lose games, Mark. And you can kick it all back to the coaching room. You can kick it all back to the coaching room. Yeah. So let's begin with Gerard Mayo. Mark.
We're going to follow up with something. So, Mayo, Chris, listen, his game management sucks, right? So at the end of halves, the start out court, like after half. So he did it again this week, Chris. They get the ball. Could they go down and get some points potentially? And he just can't manage the clock, Chris.
No.
They run the ball. But is that on Mayo or is that on Van Pelt? Because it's his offense that should be more cohesive in a 2-minute drill. He should be more prepared. The players should be more prepared. They should be getting on the ball. So is that more on May than Mayo? Even though I believe Mayo was ultimately the head coach and needs to be able to control what's going on in the game. But is that more on Van Pelt?
Ultimately, it's on Mayo because here's the thing. No, time management, timeout management, Mayo, going for 2, not reading the pulse of the game, not understanding the situations in the game, and reading the pulse of your team is kind of what I mean.
For example, calling timeout on a punt?
On a punt return, calling a timeout. It isn't even on a punt. You can even excuse it a little bit.
You're right. I'm sorry. Punt return. You're 100% right. There's a big distinction there.
At the end of that game, I don't have a huge problem with them not going for 2. But if you're reading the pulse of your team and the game and the flow and the atmosphere of the game, which is what you should be doing as an NFL head coach, other than analytics, is you got all the momentum. You got a team that you've lost, and I don't like coaching by my record. I like coaching game to game. But in that game, you fought to come back. You're never going to be higher than you are in that moment. I get it. The defense was sitting on the sideline. They were rested. They were fresh. But you've watched your defense get gashed over and over and over again. And even in this game, they let up a lead in the fourth quarter. In this game.
Not only did they let up a lead in the fourth quarter, Chris, you only had an opportunity to try and win the game, and I get made through the pick because they screwed the snap up inside this 5-yard line. They were just going to gash you all the way down the field.
Right.
They were scoring a touchdown. You were never getting the ball back on offense. They self-destructed to give you the ball back. They ended up going for the field goal. You would have never saw the ball, Chris, on offense.
Which is why you should go for 2. You're sitting in that situation. You're high.
Wait a minute, though, but you had no problem with what they did on Sunday as it was happening.
I just prefaced it by saying I don't really have a problem. Did you not hear me just now? He doesn't listen, Joe. Listen to me for Christ Almighty.
I thought you said you would have went for 2, though. You would.
I don't necessarily have a problem with them going to overtime, is what I said. But when you go back and you think about it, and you look at the situation, and you look at the mood and the atmosphere, and you watch what your defense was doing at the end of every damn game, giving up a lead, you take advantage of that high, and you go for 2. Now, again, it's not the biggest mistake he's made. You expect your defense to stand up in the overtime. But how about this, Mark? Just something subtle that nobody paid attention to. You go into overtime, you get to choose the direction you're going to go, and you choose to go into the wind.
Well, yeah, because Tennessee won the coin toss, so they elected to receive. You're right, and you picked the end of the field you want to receive the ball, where you want to go. You're right, Chris. I didn't, and I totally wasn't even paying attention to that. I didn't realize there was wind until after the game when May kind of made reference to it. But then the next day he said, the wind had nothing to do with my pass.
The wind shifted. What the hell are you talking? What are you, a meteorologist? I was looking at the flags too. The wind didn't shift. These are the things he can't keep up.
No.
He can't keep up while the game's going on like Bill did. He just can't do it. Nobody could do it like Bill did.
Well, no one could do it like Bill, but Chris, you got to have some kind of an idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah. And so, okay, so game management's not his forte, I guess. So I don't know what the hell he does. But yeah, you're right. He's also got to
That's a major problem, though. If game management isn't the head coach's forte,
huge problem. And then the other thing too is, comment on this quick before we get to Alex Van Pelt. Why is this defense gassed at the end of games every week? Why aren't they conditioned?
It doesn't. Listen, it doesn't appear that they're conditioned well enough. But yet, I go back to training camp when they claim, he ran a tough camp. They ran the hills. He was tough on them. And that was the reason why we supposedly were more prepared in week 1. And that's why we beat Cincinnati. But Jesus, they're gassed almost every game, Chris, late in the game. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah,
something went on with conditioning.
Right. And did I read that his brother or somebody is the strength and conditioning coach?
I think they are connected to him. I don't know if it's the brother-in-law, cousin, somebody. Yeah, I think you did read that correctly. Nepotism. They blame Bill for nepotism because of the sons. Remember?
Well, let's hope they get this thing fixed. And then you asked, should Mayo be responsible for what Alex Van Pelt is doing? Well, let's talk about what Alex Van Pelt is doing out there. And then tell me what he needs to do better today. Because yesterday on CORSO CATONE, we talked about his shortcomings. Yeah. Mark, what is the story? I mean, there's just a foregone conclusion at this point. This guy sucks as an OC and he shouldn't be there. And he should go down for this.
Yeah, he sucks. I think. Well, listen, I think he sucks as an OC, Chris. I don't necessarily know if he sucks as a QB's coach because I think May has made progress. And my only question with May making the progress and developing is that Van Pelt or is that Ben McAdoo? Because McAdoo was supposed to be a quarterback guru too. When McAdoo was with the Giants, that's when Daniel Jones developed. I think he had a good year 1 with the guy that's with the Giants now. But a lot of people believe his development started with McAdoo. So is it Van Pelt that's developing May, or is it McAdoo? Because Van Pelt gives you nothing else as OC, Chris. What is he giving you?
Yeah. And I'll also push back on that a little bit too, because I've said that you want to give him credit for May, fine, do it. He's a quarterback coach. Okay. But I'll also push back on it because some of the things we're seeing out of May, we saw in college from him. We see the same kind of stuff. Like it's the same good things we saw in college. I will tell you that he's better on the center. He's better in play action. His hips get turned around. He makes quick decisions. So, yeah, okay. I'll give Alex Van Pelt credit for that. So, good. You're a quarterback's coach. We don't need a quarterback coach. Well, we do. But
Which is all he's ever been, Chris, basically.
Mark, the formations. I mean, today he's going to have to be a lot better. He's going to have to get one of these damn tight ends off the field and put some receivers out there, especially in 10 personnel and long yardage. Even in short yardage, Mark, you can't run a play. You can't run a play in 10 personnel where you got 3 receivers to one side and your one receiver in the boundary side is the tight end, who now is running a go pattern against the safety or a corner, and you wonder why a perfectly placed ball by May can't get caught.
What was that? Where did he even come up with that concept? Like, what are you doing? When I saw that, you went crazy. You were on the phone with me. You went crazy. When you saw that play develop, you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
like,
I can't.
I don't get it. What did he think? He was going to catch them by surprise? Because Henry was out there? I don't know.
And can he give his offensive line a little more help? Can he get his backs to chip? Can he pull in a tight end to scrape off the line and chip off the line as they go out for a pass?
Well,
I mean,
you
God
have two.
damn it.
You have two of them. I mean, you think you'd be able to?
And his blocking schemes too. They're terrible. What they did to Robinson last week and putting their guards on an island against Simmons the way they did. You got to be better than that this week, Mark.
No, you absolutely you do.
And we talked about
Positively.
Covington. We talked about Covington. We talked about the things that have to be better. He's got to make adjustments in the game. He gets out coached. He's behind every single game. He's blitzed too much. Then he doesn't blitz enough. Then his run blitz is inaccurate. There's no accuracy there. Guy's not fitting up. He doesn't help in the middle of the field to do things. We already talked about this, okay, of the things he can do. I mean, make Williams beat you this week. So, I mean, that's Covington's shortcoming. So this coach's room, his coach's room has got a lot to be desired, Mark. A lot.
Oh, a lot. You're being kind.
Yeah. So, and also help DBs that are having issues. Okay. Runs, pass blitz packages have got to be better. Setting the edge has got to be better. And he's got to mix up the coverages. Simple end of story.
Chris, does he ever make an adjustment coming out of the locker room after
I don't see it.
halftime either?
I don't see much. I mean, I see, these guys seem to be on an island out there, and there's nobody to sit there to say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to take this away, we're going to take that away. And, with coverages or blitz packages or things like that. It's got to be better today, period.
Chris, can it get any worse on the defensive side of the ball?
No, not in the coaching room. I don't think it can get
in the coaching room. That's what I mean, in the coaches room.
No,
obviously.
I don't think it can. So we'll see what happens with the coaches today. Hey, we got to go because we got to make these people some money on the other side. But Coach's Corner was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, corsolawgroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. We come back. We're gonna make money. Joe's gonna play that little casino thing that drives me crazy. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, Mark. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead. Play your little... He loves playing that, doesn't he?
He just keeps playing it.
He just keeps playing it over and over again. He knows, because every time I hear that, I want to just like I've been hypnotized. So like somebody says a key word and all of a sudden I turn into like a zombie and walk. This is what happens.
Yeah, that's your key sound. Yeah.
Get into the car and go right to the casino.
Yeah.
You know? All right, Mark. Last week, hey, I was right on with Arizona. I've been good with them this week. This season, picking Arizona to make money.
I was on my best bet last week was Detroit. I told everyone Detroit was going to the Lambeau, didn't I? And they were going to beat them and cover, and they did.
Absolutely. And remember what I always tell you: bet for want, not for need. Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Don't be like we used to be, rolling change on Monday night,
throwing telephones through against walls and breaking phones.
So bet responsibly. So Mark, this week, and we'll get to our Patriots pick and that 6-point spread against Chicago. But give us a few pearls.
All right. Listen, I don't believe I'm going to do this. I honest to God don't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to take Arizona at home.
You took mine. All right.
I'm going to take him at home. They're a home dog this week, a home underdog against the New York Jets. Shouldn't be favored over them. I'm going to use it. The little sisters on the board. They shouldn't be favored over. I'm going to take Arizona this week, Chris. All right.
Yep, I like them too. So let me go on record saying I like that 1.5 too.
I'm on record.
Although you may have made it poison now. You may have poisoned it.
Okay. Oh, you're like Eddie Mush from the Bronx Tale. You're Eddie Mush from the Bronx Tale. You. Listen.
The real Eddie Mush was in that too, you know.
No, I know he was. I know. Listen. My other one, Chris, who I like, they're getting healthy. At home, I like the Rams because I think Miami's become a dumpster fire. I like the Rams at home giving a point.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I'll take them. And
Why?
I also think
what's making that like? What's the deciding for you on that?
on which one?
That Rams.
I just think that Miami's a team on a downslide, Chris, and I think that coach's job is going to be in jeopardy. I just think the Rams are healthy; they're getting healthier. I just think the Rams are going to beat. I think at home the Rams are going to beat them. And my last pick, Chris, quickly use them, put them in the tees with those teams, whatever you want, because I have not been impressed with the Houston Texans. Detroit's going to go into Houston and smack them around. They just picked up. You said last week on the show, oh, Detroit just needs an edge rusher to replace Hutchinson. Well, they went and got one. Ladarius Smith from Cleveland. They got their edge rusher to replace Hutchinson. Detroit's going to the Super Bowl.
I hope so.
If they stay healthy, they're going to the Super Bowl. And they're the only team that can beat that team. And I don't want to mention the team they're going to play.
The name.
I don't want to mention them. Those are my picks this week, Chris.
And I think, by the way, I was hoping that we get a Detroit-Houston matchup in the Super Bowl is what I was hoping.
I don't think we're going to. But anyways, so go ahead. Who are your picks?
Well, we already talked about Arizona. So I tell you, I don't understand this spread, even though they're at home. And I think there's a possibility Mac Jones plays today.
Yeah, they said he might play.
So I wasn't paying attention to the injury report. But Minnesota's given up 7 going into Jacksonville. I think Minnesota's going to slap that team around good.
Especially if Mac Jones is playing. Chris.
Right. So I think that it's going to be a runaway game.
If Mac Jones plays, Chris, you know what kind of pressure Brian Flores is going to bring on him?
Absurd. An absurd amount. There's that game, and then I like this one's going to surprise you a lot. Okay? And I'm going to have to mention the team you don't want me to mention. But Denver at Kansas City. Again, I'm watching Kansas City play all season long. And they're not still. They're undefeated, but they're not blowing teams out of the water. They're finding little ways to win, like the Patriots used to do late in Brady's career. Okay. Yep. They're giving Denver is getting 7.5 points at Kansas City. Denver, sometimes they're hot and cold. Sometimes they can play really well offensively. I just think it's going to be, I don't think they're going to win, but I think Denver covers that 7.5.
Yep.
And so I would take Denver in that game. And I told you about the Arizona game. So let's talk about our game. Patriots getting 6 at Chicago. Give me give me it. Give me the score. And then why quickly, however long you want, Mark. So
31-23, 31-24, somewhere in between there. Chicago Bears will win the game. I don't know if there's another winnable game on the schedule for the Patriots, Chris. Last week might have been their last shot.
Okay. So for me, I'm going to take New England.
No, you're not.
I'm going to take New England on the road. I'm going to take the 6 points now. The 6 points. The 6 points. Okay. I don't know if New England's going to win this game, but I don't think it'll be 6. I think the final of this game becomes 24-20, 24-21.
Yep.
Nah, 24-20 because New England has scored just touchdowns. 24-20, Chicago wins the game. And the reason Chicago doesn't get more is because they're going to run the ball and the game's going to get short and the clock won't be, they won't have as much time on the clock in order to score touchdown after touchdown. So that's my choice, Mark. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I like those choices. I like them. I do like them. I listen, it's always a risk putting your faith in the Patriots. But you're taking the 6. You're not picking them to win the game outright. You're saying you'll take the points in the win.
24-20.
Okay.
24-20.
I predict Chicago covers because I picked like 31-24, 31-23. I predict Chicago covers. But on my other prediction, Drake May throws three touchdowns this week. 3.
What did you have as a final?
31-24.
Okay. So they get Chicago 3 touchdowns
covers.
and a field goal.
3 touchdowns and a field goal, and Chicago covers.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, so enjoy that game. But the Pats Nation was presented by CORSO Catone, Saturdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. Hey, we're going to have a breakdown of this Bears game, so stick around for that next week. And get on, watch. All our shows are up for you to listen, subscribe, scan the QR code so you never miss a show, and come back next week, 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern. We're going to preview the Rams game and see what Mark thinks about that team that's coming on. All that and so much more. We are the Pats Nation. Enjoy the game.